Browns fans, are you ready to take your fandom on the road? Join True Fan Travel, an official fan experience partner of the Cleveland Browns, and travel with other Browns fans like never before. Everything is taken care of. Flights, hotels, tailgate, game tickets, transportation, food, drinks, everything that's important to Browns fans. Each trip will also include an exclusive meet and greet with former Browns players. Visit TrueFanTravel.com today and reserve your ultimate Browns travel package.
It's time for the Burning River Sportscast. It was sticky and rainy in Duval. In the Battle of Clemson, we saw two young men known for being remarkable at their craft go tit for tat in a battle of mediocrity. What's that? Don't say tit around Deshaun. My fault. Noted. Like a Mormon prom, both teams were grinding, but no one was scoring. Despite the underabundance of highlights, the good guys were able to walk away with the win, avoiding the desperation that comes with starting in the 0-2 hole. Speaking of 0-2, Baltimore's bitches appear to be headed to 0-5. Not to be outdone, the Kentucky Bengals have also jumped in the 0-4 hole. In a division currently led by the trailer trash across the river, if the Browns can get their shit together, this year's AFC North is up for grabs. Do they have the fortitude to become champions? We'll break it all down for you next on the Burning River Sportscast. Bill Belichick had a deed in his mouth.
I was just being an old man, get off my lawn.
I will bust my foot off in your John Brown ass.
Bad job out of you, Keanu Reeves. if there's one thing that lessens my respect for you, it's standing up that girl in the replacements. How do you guys feel about being dragged into this?
Yeah. We love it. It's a family thing, and we meet every week, and it's like our whole family has kind of gotten into it too. My wife, who was not a football fan before, is now a huge Browns fan and loves football. And her family didn't watch football either. Now they come on Sundays. So.
He was densely muscled with the neck the size of a quad. Farts.
A baby horse was hit on the road, I guess, by my allotment in my neighborhood, which is really weird because there's no farms around.
Really tiny balls.
This air's got to
serves other purpose too. It's got to hold everything in.
Washington is ass, dog. Like, they're so bad.
Washington's ass dog. Like dog ass?
Ass dog. Ass dog. Alone in the world, a little ass dog.
Raw reactions, so raw, just raw dog and I reactions all over each other.
Does this point to like crawling out of the primordial oob?
Yes.
Ooze. Oob. Ooze.
This is the boob in the oob. In the tube. Yes. This is bananas started crawling out of the primordial ooze, and then sooner or later a bipedal human popped out and had sex with your mom. And here you are.
That's what happened.
Welcome into the Burning River Sportscast, presented by the fine folks at Tappan Media. I'm Kenny Thunder, and like a really, really old Italian restaurant, he smells like a bathroom and is covered in Alfredo sauce. He's Red Hot Ronnie Jams. Back on the board today, a man who would never touch a trumpet. He just plays one instrument, the trombone, the big bone man. Bone, what's the coolest part of your body?
Man, shoot. I got some weird toes.
Nah, man, it's your hip. Like, I'm hip.
Okay. That was a joke. He was telling a joke.
Back to Red Hot. Where can our listeners find the dopest dope they ever heard on a podcast, as well as the unofficial podcast of Cleveland Browns backers everywhere?
In the official podcast of some Browns backers somewhere. You can find our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're talking Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Podcast Castro, Good Pods, and so many more. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, the only place you can find our video podcast. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Our handles for all those socials is at Burning River Sportscast. And we are on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, as well, with the handle at Burning River Pod. And while you're at it, check out our merch, www.thetapinmedia.com/shop. I got all kinds of stuff in there. River gear, Chubb line, Brook Park Browns gear still in there. Good stuff. Go get it. But today on the show, this is what you can look forward to. We got Dog of the Week, Division Roundup, Around the NFL, Hot 3, an interview with the Tri-Valley Browns backers, King of the North gassed up, Week 3 preview, and so much more. Was there anything else you want to talk about, Kenny? It doesn't matter what you want to talk about. Just know you're rolling. Shut your mouth. Let's get things started with the Burning River News Story of the Week. All right, so this week for the Burning River News Story of the Week, Donald Trump had a confirmed assassination attempt against him again this past week. Look, I know certain people will be upset just by the mere mention of Donald Trump's name, and we don't get too political on the show. I don't care,
just a smidge.
Yeah, just a little bit. But I don't care which way you vote. I don't care if there's a D in front of your name, an R in front of your name, or if you're completely independent. I don't give a shit.
If there's a D in your mouth, a D out of your mouth, it's fine.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, why are we trying to shoot people?
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Look, this looks to be the second confirmed assassination attempt against Donald Trump in the past couple of months. Still a developing story, so I'm not going to dive into the weeds here. I mean, it seems like they have a suspect in custody. Sounds like he was camped out on the golf course in the bushes for at least about a half a day, waiting for his opportunity. There's some, weird things surrounding this whole thing. It's like, how did he know where Donald Trump was going to be at the time? This was not a scheduled event of any kind. This was kind of a last-minute decision for him to play golf. So it was kind of there's some weird circumstances surrounding it. Obviously, the Secret Service detail for a candidate is far less than what they would get if they were the sitting president, which has kind of been what they've been talking about, at least to this point, which is that if he were the sitting president, that it would be nearly impossible for somebody to get on the golf course in general. But given the resources and the strain the resources have been under, that the detail is what the detail is. In this case, they did their job. They found the barrel of the gun pointing out of the bushes, went in and apprehended the suspect. But little really is known at this time really about motivations or anything else. But I think to Ronnie's point, the whole point of us bringing this up is just to say stop shooting people. That goes for presidential candidates, schools, for basically anybody. Let's just stop shooting each other. Yeah, and like I said, regardless of where you fall politically, like, this is not a way to solve a problem. I mean, first of all, if something, let's just go with this scenario real quick. Let's say it was a Democratic operative trying to take out a Republican candidate. If you don't, kind of like the first one, that galvanizes the entire opposition to rally around that candidate to just going to get politicized.
Do even more. Anybody that was in the middle at that point is now on that side because they're like, well, this guy.
Well, yeah. I mean, they kind of lump you in with the other side and say, like, that side wants to use political violence. Like,
right.
And that's not cool. No one wants that.
Right. So I just, regardless, let's stop trying to shoot people.
Yeah, just stop shooting each other. That's the good start.
Yeah.
We have processes in this country for change and elections, and if you want to get involved in things, run for office, change it from the inside. There's volunteer work you can do. There's things you can do inside your community to help better off. The place that you live. Shooting each other is not included.
Should be last on your list.
In that list,
it shouldn't even be on your list. It shouldn't even make the list.
Let's just stop shooting each other.
Yeah. But one more thing before we get to football. Before we get to the Browns, let me remind you to call the Burning River Sportscast Hot Take Hotline. Don't forget to call and leave your hot takes on the Hot Take Hotline. Remember, these are hot takes. We want hot takes. We want hot takes. We want hot takes.
I'm not sure people understand that we want their hot takes.
We want your hot takes. We want to talk about these.
We want to hear them. And the thing is that we've had this for a while. We've had some people call in, but we need more people to call in.
Yeah. Everybody's got an opinion on Deshaun right now. Call in and tell us.
Yeah, we want to hear it. And then we play you on the show.
Yeah. We don't want just our opinions on the show. We want your opinions on the show.
It's a good time for everyone.
That number is 330-227-8080.
330-227-8080.
330-227-8080.
330-227-8080. Call now. Operators are not standing by. It's an answering machine.
Voice over IP.
But we will put you on air if your take's good.
Wipe.
Yeah. And so this week, this is where we would typically get into the weekly recap, but we're doing things a little bit differently now.
Sure are.
Yeah, so if you're looking for the Week 2 recap, then go back into whichever podcast platform you are listening or watching on and find our live episode from Sunday night. You heard that right. We are now doing live shows for the recaps.
We are live
on Sunday nights after the
Sunday
games. They'll typically be Sundays at 8. I know this last one was a little bit later. I had to put the baby to bed.
The dog. Put the dog to bed.
Put the dog to bed, put the baby to bed. But yeah, so we think the reason we started doing this, right, is because we wanted more of our instant reactions in this. Like typically the way our show goes, you get a little bit of us, we can digest things and sit on it for a little while before we,
Stinker.
Yeah, before we actually talk about it. And I didn't like that. I don't think you guys like that either. I think this is better because what you get is that raw reaction to the game,
and it's live. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Know.
Like you're definitely getting canceled at some point. So.
I dropped an F-bomb.
I did. It was an accident, but it came out.
But yeah, no. To your point, because our show comes out on Thursdays, we're generally by Thursday, pretty much everybody has kind of moved on to the next week. So we wanted to make sure we give you the reaction to the game when it's pertinent, when it's when it's in front of everybody. Everybody's just excited about either the win or the loss. You're trying to figure out what's going on, and then we'll let this show then be more of the preview for the upcoming week.
Absolutely. And so we,
as things evolve, the Burning River Sportscast continues to evolve.
Yeah, and we wanted to get the fans more involved. We think Browns fans are some of the most passionate in the NFL. And we're right there with you when we're watching the game on Sundays. And so, again, we just right after the game, maybe not right after the game, but same day after the game, we're still fresh in our minds and we're thinking about it and we're pissed off or we're real happy on cloud nine, whatever the case may be. We want to jump on, interact with you guys, and then just talk about the game a little bit and what happened. So
if there's a D in your mouth, not in your mouth, it's totally fine.
Back to this, yeah. I don't know what to do with that, but we'll still, to your point, we'll have this show every week. So, bottom line, a little bit of a change that we think everybody will enjoy.
Programming note.
Yeah. And that'll take us to the Burning River Sportscast Dog of the Week.
Doesn't matter, man. You got to play tough people in the National Football League. You got to be ready, and we got to be the dogs that we are every time we step on there on Sunday and be ready to attack and don't stop until we're in that locker room.
For Burning River Sportscast Dog of the Week, we changed it up a little bit with this as well. Starting this week, what we wanted to do is we wanted to hear from our listeners, get them involved with our Dog of the Week segment, and see, who they thought was the best player of the game. So what we started this week is on our show yesterday. We're recording this one on Monday. On our show Sunday night, we each nominated who we thought should be Dog of the Week for this last game. And then we turn it over to the fans. And on social media, you guys get to vote and decide who is the Burning River Sportscast Dog of the Week. So with that, do you want to... We'll start with nominees. Kenny, who was your nominee this week?
My nominee was Corey Bajorquez. 5 punts or 3 punts inside the 20, and obviously had the critical punt inside the 2 that led to the Alex Wright sack and safety, which was, to me, the turning point in the game, where it was just that was the end of the game for all intents and purposes.
Bone, who was your nominee?
I nominated JOK. He was just all over the field, making big plays.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fun to watch.
Nice. And then for me, it was Dustin Hopkins. He went 3 of 3 field goals and I believe 1 of 1 extra points. So he had more than half of the team's points this week. So that was good to see. But we turned it over to the fans, like I said. And this week's Burning River Sportscast Dog of the Week is Corey Bajorquez. Yeah, so,
Good choice.
Kenny, you mentioned 5 punts, 218 yards, 3 inside the 20, and 1 on the 2 late in the game that set up the safety. And I know you had something to say about what Bill Belichick said about Corey.
Yes, if you missed the show, if you missed the live last night, I thought it was also fitting this week that Bajorquez showed up as kind of the hero, because on Pat McAfee's show the previous week, Bajorquez came up. Bill Belichick mentioned, I know Corey real well. He can really boom it. But basically said he sucks at kicking directionally. So for Bajorquez, they just put one down, coffin corner at the 2 at a critical point in the game. Yeah. Was super impressive.
Suck it, Bill.
Suck it, Bill.
Yeah.
Suck it hard.
Huge momentum shift.
I like Bill, but it was just nice to kind of put his own foot in his mouth.
This is where your phrase would go right now.
He had a D in his mouth.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick had a D in his mouth. At least a big L in his mouth.
Big L.
Yeah. Bad
big
take,
L. Bad take. But Corey Bajorquez one more time. Bajorquez. Bojo. I'll call him Bojo. Bojo is this week's Burning River Sportscast Dog of the Week.
Did you see in the locker room, was it, I think it was Dustin Hopkins,
Yeah.
he took a picture of it, just said, I'm just here to hold this guy's balls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I like Dustin Hopkins just as awkward as ever, just like talking to him like,
do you
guys know him? He's my friend.
Yeah, he's
like
the best.
And then he didn't know what to say after he was like, I hold his balls. He was like, this is a good guy here.
Yeah.
But no, in other Browns news here, David Bell, his hip injury in the game is feared to be season-ending as he will require surgery on a dislocated hip.
Look, I never root for anybody to get injured, but happy trails.
Yeah, rest in peace, Venus Flytrap.
RIP.
It was good knowing you. I had high hopes for you when he came in, and you never lived up to them.
This should at least serve as the end now of his career.
Yes, for sure. I will say this. I feel a little bit bad just for the fact that he worked real hard and he got cut, but then he got brought back, and he actually had 3 catches before he went down with this injury. So. But it is what it is.
Good.
So
it's 3 more than I had in the NFL.
So with that, let's get into the division roundup. All right, so we'll start with the Bengals here. The Bengals lost to the Chiefs in a close one. Some would argue that the Bengals should have won. I would argue you're wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say, does anybody not think that was pass interference? Look, I get that.
It was so pass interference.
I get that you'd never want to see PI called on like a Hail Mary type play at the end of the game, but you also can't just interfere with the player.
Like you can't run into him before the ball gets there?
Yeah, and it was pretty clear. I mean, they had a really good shot and slow-moed it, and he was there way before the ball. I can't believe the firestorm that has been going on for the last 20 hours.
Well, wasn't there something like a false start or something that they called weird, or like there was another call that
I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter. On that particular play, that was PI.
Oh, PI for sure. Bone, PI?
I didn't see it.
He didn't see it?
Yeah, sometimes I'm going to live in a rock.
He's like the refs. He didn't see it.
See no evil, hear no evil.
Yeah. But anyways, we were all right in that, picking the Bengals to lose to the Chiefs. Next up, Baltimore. They lost to the Raiders. This was actually a shocker. We all got this wrong, but silver lining here. It's been 22 years since a reigning MVP QB has started the following season 0-2, and Lamar Jackson has just done that.
Another silver lining is that teams that start 0-2 only stand a 6% chance of making the postseason.
Yeah, I like that. If you're going by those stats, both the Bengals and Baltimore are now out of it.
Yes, very true. The good thing, too, about Baltimore at this point is they have Dallas, Buffalo, and Cincy next on their schedule. Very easily could be 0-5 to start the year, and then they're just done.
That's a tough schedule.
I hope they lose all of them except for the Cincy game, and Cincy loses all of them and then just beats Baltimore, and then it's like they both just suck.
They're just both 1-4 to start the season.
They're just both ass. Yeah, that's my hope for this whole thing. And then next up, Pittsburgh. They beat the Broncos in Mile High. Was it Mile High City? Mile
High Stadium?
I was just talking about this. I was just what they call Denver.
Yeah, it's the Mile High City.
They beat them in Mile High Stadium. But anyways, I went out on a limb and picked the Broncos here. I thought they would defend home turf.
They didn't.
I shouldn't have. I was wrong. You guys were both right. But it was an ugly game. This game was awful. Like, we thought our game was ugly. We thought the Browns game with the Jacksonville Jaguars was ugly. This game was awful. Like, ass.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of knew it would be. Broncos just don't have a lot going on offense right now. I think Bo Nix eventually will be an okay quarterback, but it's just not yet. I mean, it's too early in the season, and he hasn't seen enough defenses and hasn't had a chance to work with Sean Payton enough. That team's just not ready for prime time just yet. They're going to lose a lot of games this year.
Yeah, and I think kind of what we learned on, for Pittsburgh is their offense is in big trouble, but their defense is everything that we thought it would be.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's be real here. Like, Pittsburgh beat Denver and
Atlanta.
Like, they didn't beat good teams.
No.
Like, they're 2-0 because their schedule has placed them there, and those are games like that a Mike Tomlin coach team is going to find a way to win.
Yeah.
Nobody has stood out and been like spectacular to this point. This offense looks really, really bad for the second week in a row. They always feel a good defense.
Well, they got one touchdown.
Their defense is going to be good. Yeah, I think they have one touchdown. Yeah, they're winning games with like 13 points. Like they're not good.
Well, I know we talked about it. Like, I actually think they'll be just as bad, if not worse, when Russell Wilson comes back. Because then you lose.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get any better. I think the offense is going to stay.
You might get a tiny bit better in the passing game, but you're going to get significantly worse in the rushing attack, I would think.
I don't even know. Like it's. I think it's scheme, to be honest, because Justin Fields wasn't even that bad in Chicago.
Well, you think about those two quarterbacks and the quarterbacks they've had for the past 30 years, and they just don't play the same game at all.
Well, I don't know what they're doing there, but like I don't know. Like DJ Moore was like 6th in receiving yards last year. Like you don't get that with a quarterback that throws for 120 yards a game. Like
right.
I don't know what this offense is that they're running with Justin Fields right now, but it's not a good one. It's not a good fit.
No.
And if they run the same offense with Russell Wilson, like it's not gonna be much better.
Just as bad, yeah. But no, somehow they found a way to win. So again, I was wrong on that. You guys are both right. Which takes us to Cleveland. They got the W against the Jaguars in another really sloppy game. I was right on this, and you guys were wrong. You guys both picked Jacksonville. You went against You went against our hometown team, and I don't know what you guys are doing.
I mean, I can't pick the Browns to win every game. I mean,
Jacksonville feels like one you should probably pick them to win, though.
It was on the road. They played terrible in week 1.
Deshaun was so bad in week 1.
If nothing else, I'm disappointed in Bone because Kenny's the all.
I usually never pick him to lose, but Deshaun just gave me zero hope. I was just like the least hopeful Browns fan I've ever been in my life.
You turned into Kenny?
Week. Yes. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, Kenny's the least hopeful Browns fan of all time.
I contend had it not started raining that Jacksonville would have had a better time on that last drive and probably would have beat us. Because we left the door open for them.
We'll never know.
We did.
We absolutely left the door open for them. In fact, I mean, we were like, one catch away from losing that game.
It felt like when we threw the pass in that third down, it felt like this is how we lose. Like this is a Browns game.
They really tried to give it away.
Yeah,
they really tried their hardest.
But we didn't. Yeah. But we didn't. We won. You guys were wrong.
You talk like the Browns came out and smacked them. Like this was like a 42-6 route. Like this ball, literally the ball hit their player in the end zone on the last play of the game.
No, like I said, I if nothing else, I'm just disappointed in Bone because he always picks the Browns and he didn't.
And if it wasn't for that timely safety. And Jorquez, I mean, it could have been a field goal game that they could have tied up, and who knows what happens then.
That's fair. So for the AFC North, though, standings through 2 weeks, Pittsburgh is on top at 2-0. Cleveland right behind at 1-1, and Cincinnati and Baltimore both in the basement at 0-2. And the current king of the North standings, which we'll talk more about later, I am on top right now. I'm with a really good record of 3-5. And then you guys are right behind at 2-6. So still a close race so far this season.
I'll say this just about picking AFC North games in general and just games so far this season.
Nobody knows what's going to happen.
My fantasy league has a survivor pool.
Yeah.
It's done.
Everybody's done?
80% of CBS survivor pools are done.
That's insane.
That's
wild. That's how
through 2 weeks.
The first 2 weeks have been.
Through 2 weeks. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But no, so that'll lead us to the Hot 3.
I'm the heat in your lungs. I'm the smoke in the sky. I'm the gas in the tank. Gonna turn it up, turn it up. I'm hot to the touch, burning up. I'm hot to the touch. I'm hot to the touch, burning up. I'm hot.
All right, so the Hot 3, guys. We got a good one this week. One that was really hard for me to choose, and that is sports movies. So I know there's about 1 billion sports movies out there.
There's so many.
I remember this afternoon. I was just going through, and I'm like, oh my god, like I didn't even know that. I completely forgot about that movie. And then there's that one, and then there's that one, and then there's that one.
Well, I found it hard because I almost look at there's funny sports movies like Happy Gilmore,
Yeah.
and then there's Rudy.
Yeah,
Like to me, those are almost two different genres, even though they're both sports movies. So it's it's hard to pick which direction you want to go.
yeah, it is tough.
But picking the top three,
This is top three. This is top three.
according to the Burning River Sportscast.
This is a hot three. So, who started last week? Do we remember?
I don't think I did.
All right, we're gonna start with Bone then.
Oh, all right. Excellent.
Hot three sports movies.
Maybe I did. All right. So coming in at number 3, Goon.
Ooh,
Hockey movie, Sean William Scott. Hockey / enforcer fighting movie. Really funny. I don't know, just a good movie. You guys are looking off at something. I'm confused about what's going on.
why'd you turn the camera off?
I didn't. It's right there.
Goon was number 3. So
Wait, what was it?
Goon.
Oh,
Goon.
It's a hockey movie. Have you seen it?
I don't think I've seen that
Okay.
one.
You've never seen Goon?
It's really good. I think it's really good.
Watch it. It might be in your hot 3.
Who's in Goon?
Sean William Scott. You know Stifler from American
yeah,
Pie?
Definitely.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic movie. Kenny's an idiot for not watching it. So
It's good. I mean, I'm not really a big hockey fan, but I like that movie.
all
All right, so number 2, Southpaw.
Southpaw.
I had to put a boxing movie in here. I love Southpaw. Makes me cry every time his daughter yells at him. And it's just a great movie.
I love movies that make me cry.
Yeah.
I've only seen that once, and I actually
Pulls at the heartstrings. Yeah. Especially if you got kids or a daughter.
yeah. I'm gonna go watch it again now.
And then it's on Netflix, I believe, or Prime right now.
I'm in.
And then number
I
1.
have a son. Do I still get to watch it?
No,
Yeah.
you can't watch it.
You'll cry. You'll still cry.
Oh, okay, you can watch it. Hashtag girl dad.
Yeah. Number 1 is, but by far the best sports movie ever made is Remember the Titans.
Ooh, Remember the Titans. Nice.
Denzel, man, is just the boss in that movie, and then
Fantastic
just the whole,
soundtrack.
Just the time period. I don't know
Civil rights.
Exactly, and just the unity, and then the racial aspect of it, and just bringing everybody together. And
Yeah.
just how they do it, I thought was fantastic.
I'm not discounting the bringing everybody together and how great this movie is, but did you know that half the schools in their conference were also integrated, and they didn't put that in the movie?
Oh, really? I've
Yeah.
never looked up the real history of,
Yeah.
or even if
It
the
just-
movie was based off anything. Honestly,
It's just
I've
one of
never
those
looked
things
it up, but
artistic liberties, but it made for a great movie.
it was a great feel good movie.
It was a great movie.
It was, one of my favorites too.
Denzel. There were just some great quotes in that movie too. Just Denzel.
Sunshine.
I
Yeah.
will bust my foot off in your John Brown ass.
I mean, when he wakes him up and makes him run, through the dark, like in the cemetery and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Because back when we were kids, we were playing football growing up, high school, middle school,
yeah.
whatever it was. That just gave you
You
chills. You're
just related so much
Yeah,
more
yeah.
to everything that was happening in that
You
movie.
jump off sides, you
Yeah.
run a mile. You fumble the ball, you run a mile.
yes.
How many
Oh,
feet
man.
are in a mile, son? 5,280. You're going to run every one of them.
I like my favorite line of the whole movie. We blitz on every down. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
Don't give up another yard. Yeah.
Underrated movie. I actually did when I'm. This is what I'm talking about. When I was looking through mine, it didn't. I didn't cross that one until the end of it, and I was like, I should put that in there, but I kind of like my list. So
That was definitely on my top 5. I was having a hard time with that one.
yeah.
Should I
So-
give any honorable mentions?
Not yet. Not yet. Wait till we see if any of
Wait
them are on
till the end.
ours.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good-
So
good call, good call.
Kenny, what's your hot 3?
My hot 3. Let me find it.
Number 3.
Number 3. Number 3 obviously is Rocky 4 because it ended the Cold War. Any movie that literally ends
If I could change,
diplomatic
you could change.
diplomatic affair.
We all could change.
Yeah, Ivan Drago, the evil Russian, and just the way that the whole crowd in Russia goes to start chanting
Rocky,
USA, America
Rocky.
stuff. Yeah, for Rocky. Just my favorite Rocky movie of all of them. I mean, let's be honest. Ivan Drago was the best bad guy in all those movies too.
Oh yeah.
If he dies, he dies. Just absolute menace. So yeah, Rocky 4 is my number 3. Number 2, look, I know this one has lost its luster a little bit given some of the stuff that's come out, but it's Blindside.
Good movie.
It's just every time it's on TV, I'll watch it. It's just just a good story. What you even if you separated the truth from the fiction of it and just said it's just a movie about a football, like it holds up.
That's kind of where I'm at. Like that's what I was saying about Remember the Titans. Like sure, it's a little bit different, but it's a great movie. It's a great movie.
And like look, and I'm skeptical of the claims of this whole thing, right? Because like a lot of this, I think, has to do with Michael Orr's financial situation, and like it sounds like there was
it's a little sketchy.
Money,
it's a little sketchy,
and he was for the movie and friends with the Tuohys before he was against it. You know, like it wasn't like he was striking against the movie when it was being made and standing outside being like, "Don't watch this movie; it's not real."
Yeah,
he was for it and for the book and all that stuff before he was against it. So to me,
that's fair.
This seems like the claims of any wrongdoing here kind of fall on deaf ears.
You want to hear a fun fact about The Blind Side?
Sure.
It's actually the Blind Side movie is one of the reasons that my wife knew she was pregnant before we knew she was pregnant, is because we were watching The Blind Side.
She cried when Michael threw that kid out of the stadium.
Like instantly, like the first scene where it's even a little bit emotional, where it's showing him like on hard times and stuff. She was just bawling her eyes. And she was like, it happened like 6 times throughout the movie. She's like, I don't know what's wrong with me.
Maybe I'm pregnant. I just watched it the other day and I was a little teary-eyed.
Yeah, and so by the end of the movie, though, she was like, I think I might be pregnant.
And the other thing is, like, Sandra Bullock's never looked better.
Oh, no, it is a good movie for her. Yeah, yeah.
She looked phenomenal.
My wife's telling me that she might be pregnant, and I'm like, Sandra Bullock looks pretty good.
Phenomenal as a blonde.
Yeah.
And who played, was that Tim McGraw?
Tim McGraw, yeah.
It's so funny because if you look at Sean Tuohy in real life, like, he's kind of this stocky fella, like, kind of stocky.
Doesn't look anything like Tim McGraw.
Tim McGraw. But Tim McGraw, I mean, look, it's hard to find a fault in a movie that has a guy as handsome as Tim McGraw and Sandra Bullock as your lead.
Yeah.
It's like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, Tim McGraw is honestly, he's in a few movies and he's underrated as an actor because he's got like in most of the movies he's in, he has a couple serious roles, but he plays quite a few funny characters where it's like the quick one-liners and they're just so good. They're like, and this one was perfect because he was like a dad, so they're just like the dumbest lines.
I also too recently, because I just watched it recently, kind of did some research just on the Tuohy family, and I don't know how I missed this in the movie because they did like briefly mention it. Like I was kind of like, they have a lot of money.
Oh yeah,
and I was always kind of like, they seem, they drive nice cars and they have a nice house, and I was kind of like, they're like well to do. I didn't realize
they're doing all right.
How much money they have.
A lot.
They had a lot of money.
Yeah,
he owned like 114 Taco Bell franchises.
Whoa.
You'd never know it by looking at Tim McGraw.
And he's the play-by-play voice of the Memphis Grizzlies for the last 20 years.
Really?
Like they have money.
So not only did they have money, but they were well connected.
Yeah. So it just like I never realized that for the movie. I was always kind of like, and I always kind of wondered like, what really was their financial deal? Like she kind of works at home and does like decorating, and they never really like came out and said. But the next time I watched it over, there was some talk about like, yeah, we get free food from Taco Bell all the time, and I was like, how did I miss that? Because they said like they own it. But
well, it is like a subtle like that they throw it in there, but it's not.
Yeah, like it wasn't a big part of the movie.
Yeah.
But then when I was like, man, they owned 100 fast food restaurants. Like they had
that'll do it.
Money.
That'll do it.
So anyway,
yeah. What's your number one?
Number 2, and then number 1 for me is Any Given Sunday.
Ooh, nice. I'll be honest, I completely forgot about this one, but go on.
The cast in this movie is
fantastic.
mind-blowing. Pacino, Cameron Diaz, Dennis Quaid, James Woods, Jamie Foxx, LL Cool J, Charlton Heston, and older Anne Margaret, Aaron Eckhart, Lauren Hawley from Dumb and Dumber, Lloyd's love affair in Dumb and Dumber, Lawrence Taylor, Jim Brown, and a bunch of other like NFL celebrities made cameos in this thing, but just an outstanding cast, beginning to end. Willie Steeman Beeman, the whole it was all
Willie Beeman.
It was all the things that like the NFL kind of like runs from, like the the cars and the women and the jewelry and the drugs and
cocaine
and the absolute violence, violence of the game. Like that's what that movie was like. Those guys were just ready to just tear people apart.
Well, that's why the NFL wanted no part of it, and they were the Sharks.
Yeah, it was just such a good mix of all those things. And Pacino gives one of the best, just like speeches in the end of that game about we fight for every inch. Look at the man next to you, and look at the man next to him, and you gotta fight for those inches together. That whole thing.
Good Pacino voice, not bad.
Yeah, I mean, he goes. I mean, he gets deep on it. You know, he's like, I lost everything. I made a bunch of bad decisions, but life is a game of inches. Yeah, so just for me, that kind of brings the whole thing full circle.
Hell yes, I love Any Given Sunday. I'm embarrassed that I forgot about that movie while I was thinking of these. But no, so I'll start with my number 3 here. We're Cleveland fans.
Yes.
So I went with Major League for number 3.
Smart choice.
Nice.
Just one of the funniest movies in general, but definitely one of the funniest baseball movies ever made.
Another good cast in that too.
Yeah. Really good cast. And yeah, I mean, just I feel like it's so relatable in Cleveland when you're talking about the baseball team, because as much as we talk about how well run that organization is and how they may have some down years, they always seem to be in the thick of things, and they make some runs here and there. But it does feel occasionally when they are having those down years, like the owner doesn't want to spend any money, it doesn't want to do anything, and so you can really relate to this movie. Basically from start to finish, like the owner comes in and basically wants to tank everything and get rid of the team. So
you are speaking of the Cleveland Indians, right?
In Major League, Cleveland.
You just haven't. You've avoided saying the name, so I just wanted to throw it out there. During that movie, it was
it was the Indians. Yes,
That's right.
Yes.
That's a good point, Bo. And I mean, it's.
I was just using baseball teams, so I didn't have to go back and forth.
It's one of the finite reminders in time that, like, as much as they want to kind of like whitewash this thing with Guardians and pretend like the Indians' name never happened, like
they made a movie about us.
For that movie will stand the test of time. Because it's funny.
It's classic.
They are the Indians, and people are
wow.
Like, who are the Indians?
Yeah.
I was just being old man, get off my lawn. So.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I actually didn't even notice I was doing it. That's why I think it was more of a. I don't want to say Indians, Guardians, and go back and forth when I'm talking about whatever. But number 2, The Replacements. Just
movie. Another
fantastic soundtrack too. Just all the way through. It was really, really good. Keanu Reeves, we're used to him as like an action star now. He plays a lot of John Wick. He does a couple other movies. Matrix, like all those things. But people, this is what he was doing. He was doing The Replacements before he got to the comedy. And I guess he plays more of a serious role in this than most of the rest of the cast. But he still has his one-liners in this, and he actually delivers them pretty well. Keanu Reeves, not the greatest actor, beloved actor, not the greatest actor. But no, this movie is just funny start to finish. And the idea of replacement players coming in and when the main guys won't cross the picket line to finish the season is it was an awesome story. Another feel-good movie.
It's a good movie.
And it had Madden and Summerall, I think, were in that. The commentary section. She's like, had some cameos from.
Oh, he comes around here, bam! And he juggles a football and it goes all over the ground.
The only thing I didn't like about that movie is towards the end, and I mean, forgive me for spoilers. The movie's 25 years old.
If you haven't seen it, you're wrong.
I was always when he stands up his love interest in the end of the movie, I was always just like, man, why'd you do that? I know he was upset because the guy came back and he was not going to get to play anymore. But it's like he went to the bar to tell his friends, gave them the respect of showing up and being like, I'm not going to play anymore. And then he's supposed to have dinner with that chick and just totally blows her off
because the main guy that came back told him she's too good for you.
Yeah.
You need to just walk away and let it end.
They had a thing going, though.
I'm with you, though. I'm with you.
It was just a mean thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. Bad job out of you, Keanu Reeves. If there's one thing that lessens my respect for you, it's standing up that girl in The Replacements. And then finally, number 1 here, Rocky IV. You already said it for your number 3. It's my number 1. It ended a Cold War. It's the only movie that's ended a war.
That's right.
So it has to be number 1. Ivan Drago. All the same things that you said. It was just classic. And I know Rocky 1 is actually considered by a lot of people one of the greatest sports movies of all time, top 3.
Sure.
Launched Sylvester Stallone's career, wrote it, starred in it, did everything, did it himself when nobody else would fund it. So, that whole story is great. But let's be honest, Rocky 4 is where the actual story's at, and where it's a lot more fun to watch Rocky 4 than Rocky 1.
And that's why I think Rocky 4 is so much better, actually, is because by the time they had made Rocky 4, Sylvester had become a household name. They had money to make that movie. You know, like when they made Rocky 1, the funds were low. There weren't a lot of people that were interested in making that script. And then it caught fire, became this huge sensation. So like, by the time they got to Rocky 4, this was a freight train from hell. Like there was money. It's
kind of like the Burning River Sportscast.
Yeah. It was just so much more well done, like the finished product.
Something I would have never guessed, that Rocky 4 is like Burning River Sportscast.
We're basically one and the same.
Freight train from hell.
We might end the tensions in the Middle East. You never know.
Wow.
We tried to stop.
We're just bringing people together.
We tried to stop an assassination to start the show.
Yeah. So that's the hot three. Kenny, you know what I think it's time for?
I don't know. What time is it?
I think we're going to do an interview.
Oh, interviews. I like interviews.
Yeah, so we started it last year, the Browns backers interview series. We're going to keep it going this year. We're going to keep it going forever, probably, as long as we're doing this. But yeah, I mean, we all know the Browns backers are diehard fans, but we want to make sure that all of you know just how much they're doing for their respective communities and how much they're raising for charities around the nation and around the world even. And
they're also insightful fans.
Yeah, absolutely. And so with that, let's go ahead and get into the next interview in the series.
Powered by Riverside FM.
All right, so for this Browns Backers interview, please help me welcome a wonderful woman that we were able to meet at the Browns Backers President's Summit in Cleveland this year. We were at PJ McIntyre's, the president of the Tri-Valley Browns Backers, Becky. Got more to introduce, guys. There's more. We're joined by her sons, Austin, who's the vice president of the group as well, and Andy is hanging out with them too. So how is everybody?
Very good. Very good. Austin actually got married like the week after the summit. So.
Oh wow!
Oh, nice!
Congratulations,
married man now.
Thank you. It was an intense week.
Nice. I bet. So you were here because we didn't get to catch up with you, but you were here for that.
Nah, yeah, I was chilling at the hotel room at that point. I think that was pretty late, right?
Yeah, Andy. Andy was with me, and then he went with Kevin, and.
Oh, I did see you for a moment, Andy. I was like, this guy looks familiar. He was out there with our buddy from the North Jersey Browns backers, just hanging out. And, yeah, nice. What was that?
It was a fun weekend.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys got into trouble as soon as you left.
I'm sure you guys had a lot of fun.
But no, Becky, guys, tell us a little bit about your club. When you were established, viewing location, those types of things.
So we are fairly new. We started in 2019, and we had a good inaugural year, and then COVID hit. And 2020, our viewing location did not have the Sunday. Most of New York didn't open. So we basically watched from our house. We bought the ticket. Austin was in college and he got an offer for $99 to get the Sunday ticket for that season. So we just invited all the club members to come to our house. And when it was warm enough, we were out in the garage. And when it wasn't, we sort of packed around in our living room and watched. And after that, our viewing location, the next year we went back, 2021, we went for one game. They couldn't guarantee us that they were going to open every Sunday at 1. And we were playing the Chiefs at 4:25 that first week. So we went there. Yeah, that wasn't pretty. And then this new place was opening, and Austin and I went and talked to her, and she's like, "Oh, I would love to have you." So the location is called Frogs, and it's right on the Erie Canal in Oneida. And we go there every Sunday, and we fill the place up with 25 to 30 of us most of the time.
25 to 30 is actually very, I know you said it's been a little bit of a slow start, but that's very respectable given all the challenges that COVID threw at us and everything else. I mean, you're talking about viewing locations, things, and those bars just all closed down too.
I was going to say, she was just giving me bad flashbacks of COVID times.
just this closes down and that closes down.
What a time to be alive that was.
A lot of my family's in the restaurant industry, so there was a lot of just
all the weird stuff that we had.
Any nightmare that you can think of, nightmare scenario that came with COVID. I've heard extensively about it because of those family members.
But I commend you. I mean, it's awesome that you were able to kind of keep things moving just by having folks down to your house. I mean, what a great idea to try and keep things together. Awesome.
Yeah,
and
to do that.
Yeah, and he brings up a really good point is that it's just we talked to a lot of different Browns backers groups, and you're probably the first one that we've talked to where they said, well, we had to keep our club going, so we just hosted it at the house. And I mean, it's awesome to hear that, because that's what it means to be the Browns backers president, is you say you got to take it on yourself and say, we're going to keep this thing going come hell or high water. So
yeah.
Yeah, kudos to you guys. I bet that's tough having 30 people in your house.
We didn't have that many. We did in the garage. We had, because actually I know one week we were playing Washington, and some of our friends who were Redskins fans at the time came over and watched with us. So that was definitely better to be out in the garage in a bigger space. But my dad was 90 that year, and he is the reason that we are Browns fans. He grew up in Cleveland and used to jog down to the stadium every Sunday morning, and they'd start at West 90th or wherever and run down and pick up their friends all along the way and get in the stadium for a quarter. And that began his love of the Browns. And so we thankfully got this club started before he passed away, so that he got to be a part of it with us for a while.
Well, and what an awesome legacy to leave.
What a great story.
That's a great story to start. And then just sounds like a great man. I mean, just the fact that he's a Browns fan, you could tell me nothing else. And he's a great man. Great man.
It's just always funny, as we kind of do our virtual travels around the country to find out how did you become a Browns fan, being where you are. So I mean, what an awesome story.
Yeah, that is awesome. And so it sounds like now it's multi-generational, right? So it started with him, it went to you, and it's now down to the boys here.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about being dragged into this?
We love it. It's a family thing, and we meet every week, and it's like our whole family has kind of gotten into it too. My wife, who was not a football fan before, is now a huge Browns fan and loves football. And her family didn't watch football either. Now they come on Sunday, so it's both sides, and it's awesome. Yeah. So we love it.
Just keep converting them.
Yeah.
Church of the Cleveland Browns.
Becky, if you ever needed any, proof that you're raising your boys right, there you go. You got it right there. So
it's on camera.
Yeah. We now have it recorded. So, no, but that's fantastic. I mean, all great stories. Awesome that you were able to keep it going and everything. Are you guys? I know a lot of the Browns backers groups are involved with a lot of community service. It's kind of a staple of what they do. So, what types of community service are you guys into over there?
Well, we've not gotten too much involvement yet. So I mentioned my dad. My mom actually passed away about a week and a half after the summit. I was their caregivers for the last 4 years. So I haven't gotten to do as much exterior as I want to. Growing up, we were at Little League. They helped me when they were little run the concession stand and all that stuff. So we definitely want to get back involved in more community events. We do a Super Bowl square and raise money. There is a place not too far from here, about 15 minutes away, called Clear Path for Veterans. And they actually have a canine program. And we do the Super Bowl square and give half of that to the canine program, because with the dogs, they actually had a dog last year named Chubbs. So it was sort of fitting, and we had nothing to do with that. So, so that's our kind of our big thing is the veterans. My dad was a Korean War vet, and so we want to focus on that. And then going forward, I want to definitely get more involved in some of the local events. And we always give to the Cleveland Browns Foundation as well.
Absolutely. No, a couple things before we move on here. First of all, condolences for your mother. That's terrible. I don't know what I'd do without my mom. So,
that truly cherish every minute, because my mom was almost 92, but it's still a big void not having her here anymore. So,
yeah.
And it just sounds like that was a crazy time in your life. I mean, from the president's summit to the wedding, and then that too. Just everything happening at once.
It was 1 week after the next, the summit, the wedding, and she passed away while he was on his honeymoon, actually. So.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, but you did mention the Super Bowl squares, so I just want to say the fact. I mean, you're saying it like it's I know you want to get more involved and you want to do more, which is fantastic, and I know almost every Browns backers group that we talk to wants to do more, but kind of just doing that speaks to what all these Browns backers collectively can do. And the fact that you guys only have, at the moment, it's growing, but at the moment, 25 to 30 members, and you're able to come up with whatever you can just to give to a charity. And it's kind of like-minded people coming together to give any little bit that they can to help out. It just kind of speaks to Browns fans in general, and especially these Browns backers groups and what they do.
Yeah,
for sure. So it's those individual bricks just laid together, right, that create that whole foundation. So that's awesome.
Some of them, some of the members, some of the other clubs, it's amazing if you looked at all of it, how much goes to charity. It's
oh yeah.
Well, and that's why it's collectively it's the group itself is just such an impact to local communities, because sure there's big groups, but there's also small groups, and every little bit matters, and it's like it's just awesome that you can get together still and have groups like this that are fan clubs that are also doing good in the community.
Yeah, and so. No, I mean, and when the Super Bowl squares come out, make sure you let us know, because we're big fans of Super Bowl squares. We'll join in.
I got both.
Go ahead.
I got both your phone numbers. I'll be texting you.
See, there you go. Any light gambling, I'm in.
Have you had a chance to have T-shirts or hats or any kind of merchandise made yet, or is that something that's on the roadmap?
We are actually. One of the guys that we met at the summit a few years ago, his vice president talked to me. He's a graphic designer, and he has taken my idea, and he is supposed to be getting it on paper for me or on digital for me. And then we plan on having shirts.
Nice.
Well, and that's another one. Let us know as soon as those come out, because we like to collect as many of those as we can, and we're behind, but we'd like to catch up. So,
well, we know it's revenue for you guys too, so we try to help out where we can.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And then let's talk about football a little bit. I mean, that's the one of the big reasons why we all came together is we're all Browns fans. So let's just go ahead and start with the season so far. You can talk as much as you want about week 2 and what you thought about that game, but how do you think the Browns have looked all season? I mean, it's 2 games, but how do you think they've looked so far?
Better yesterday.
That's for sure.
I feel like week 1 was historically bad, and week 2 was much improved, right? I mean, I think we had 1 first down in the first half of the first week or something ridiculous like that. So to go from that extreme to seeing a team win a game, I mean, it's a lot more enjoyable when you're around a bunch of people. Week 1 was pretty miserable.
A lot of people left early last week.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah.
Yesterday was like the cardiac kids of old, but
I think
collective sigh of relief.
Yeah. I have this thing I do. They bar stools. I kind of crouch down around one and just sit like this. And I heard somebody behind me say, "Uh-oh, Becky's crouching down. It's not good." So.
Yeah. And to your point, it's just Austin. It's like night and day, week 1 to week 2. I mean, the offense is still a little shaky, but the defense really picked it up. They were put in a lot better positions, even if the offense wasn't necessarily getting it done. They weren't putting the defense in terrible situations.
Right.
So it was kind of night and day difference. A lot easier to watch this week and a lot more fun, for sure. I guess. So the question is, going forward, what kind of team do you think we're going to get?
I think this is a team that's capable of making the playoffs. It's just a matter of, is it all going to gel? I mean, the offensive line, I think, is a big concern. If they can't, string games together where everybody's healthy, we're going to be in trouble, because the disparity in the penalties probably had something to do with the fact that the O-line was really having a hard time. So I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I think it's a team that should make the playoffs if everything goes according to plan, but I don't know.
And go ahead, Becky.
I was just going to say, I was watching a show this morning that I watched. I don't know if you guys want me to say the name of it or not, but
You can say what you want. There's room here for
We're equal
everyone.
opportunity.
okay. It was the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show I was watching this morning, and they were kind of breaking down the line did great in the run game, but the penalties, I think they said like 55 yards and penalties on some of the runs, and a lot of those penalties had nothing to do with the actual run, like making the run successful.
Yeah.
So they definitely
Been a lot of alignment penalties so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The line is definitely a big concern, and obviously, I guess you can look at it both ways. So it's a big concern. We have the two starters are still out. However, I guess the silver lining with it would be the two starters are still out. So when they come back, the hope is that you'll see a lot stronger offensive line play, less penalties, less more. They're going to open up more lanes for the running game. They're going to open up more lanes for the passing game, and things just will be generally better. But
Well, and despite the fact that we had 10 penalties again yesterday and a cobbled together
13.
line still went for over 13.
11 the first week.
Still went for over 100 yards rushing as a team.
Yeah.
So, I guess trying to pull silver linings where we can.
right,
Yeah.
right.
No, and so you guys are out in New York, and obviously we're playing the Giants this week. So are you guys hearing anything about the Giants? I'm not sure. I know New York's. You guys are in kind of upstate New York, if I'm not mistaken. So are you guys hearing anything?
We're smack dab in the center of the state.
We're kind of Bills territory mostly. It's pretty predominantly Bills people here, but there are
There's a lot of Giants,
There's still a lot of Giants fans, but I'd say it's definitely
but they don't have much to talk about.
they don't have much to say. I mean, they kind of are in the closet right now. So, but
Well, and that kind of answers my question. Is it was going to be what are they saying about the Giants? But they're saying nothing. They're saying they're acting like they don't even have a team.
That's
So,
probably the best thing to say.
yeah.
You know that meme when one of the Simpsons is kind of going back into the hedge.
When Homer going into the hedges. Yeah.
I can't remember if it was Homer or Bart, but
yeah, they're
He
not.
comes out with a new T-shirt on, and it's a Cleveland Browns T-shirt.
well, I did the Giants because the Giants and the Browns were like the only two teams that were on back in the day around here, and he hated the Giants. So I think there's a definite.
Fair, we all do. Who doesn't hate the Giants? With them being that bad, I mean, do you guys have any predictions as far as the game goes? Not necessarily scores yet. We'll get to that in just a minute. But do you guys? Is there anything that you think we should be looking for where the Browns can really capitalize against the Giants this week?
Yeah, I
think a lot of it comes down to Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy on the offense. Cooper's been really non-existent from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy had a bit of a breakout this week, so I think if we can get him going in that right direction and get their run game going, I don't think the defense will have any trouble unless, penalties again seem to be the killer, but I think our defense looks good.
I think it's a game that we should win, but I think the issue with like this week, for example, was there were so many missed opportunities and just stupid mistakes that I think in the NFL, if you make those too often, you can lose games like against teams like the Giants, where you really should win. So
For sure.
Yeah.
like that.
I think that's the main worry on our minds this week as well. So, is not getting beat by a team that you should beat easily.
Right.
We have a history of that.
Yeah, we do.
We were at the Jets game. Our club was at the Jets game 2 years ago.
Oh God.
And this one back there, he's like, I said, we missed that extra point. He goes, who cares? I said, you should care as a Browns fan.
Oh man, that game, you're bringing back memories because
First COVID, now the Jets game.
we went hard on the Jets before that game, and I told Robert Saleh he can keep all his receipts because there's no chance that they were going to be beating us, and everything looked great until it didn't.
Until it didn't.
It's hard to be mad at Garrett Wilson. It's hard to be mad at Garrett Wilson for that, but He tore.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. But no. So score predictions for this game. Now we'll get to it. I'm gonna let all three of you give a score prediction for this game. So
That's my least.
and you can't back out. We've had way too many of these Browns backers presidents back out and be like, I don't give score prediction. We aren't dealing with that. You got to give a score prediction. So
I'm going to say 24-10. I think the Browns will win, and I don't think the Giants can do much on offense. So it's going to be probably a slow-moving game, but the Browns will pull away in the end.
That's strong.
I like it.
Yeah. Andy?
I'm going to go 27-12, the way the Giants can't kick extra points. So
You're gonna have them missing two of them?
I'm going to have them going 2 touchdowns.
I think
extra
their
points.
kicker got hurt yesterday. They scored 2 touchdowns and went for 2 both times. So we think their kicker must have got hurt.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We don't really watch them, but I kept seeing
It was on the
score.
other TV. And
They had a weird score.
He was
some weird scores yesterday.
He was actually injured going into the game, and then he re-aggravated it. And yes, they were in a bad way.
Nice.
So hopefully that continues.
Becky, what about you?
I'm gonna say
Man, it's not like
28-6, Cleveland. I don't know.
20.
Whoa!
Wow.
They're gonna, I don't know.
Wow!
He's way more.
You think it's we're gonna be off to the races from the get-go? It sounds like.
I like that.
Well, I'm just hoping that maybe we get some. If Daniel Jones is a little skittish, maybe we get some pick six here or there.
Awesome. I was going to say some defensive touchdowns. I like that.
That or the offense comes together, you know. We
Yeah.
probably see a good offense this year.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Those guys have to hold on to the football when it's in their hands, though.
Right. Yeah.
That'd be a good start.
Yeah. Well, no, listen, guys, we're going to wrap this up, but we do really appreciate you being on. I hope, I hope everyone is starting to see as we continue to do these interviews just how much good you guys are doing, whether your club is big, small, just getting started, been around for years. It doesn't matter. All of you guys are really doing great things for your communities, great things to raise money for the different foundations that you work for, whether it be in your community or not. I know a lot of it, at least a portion of it, always goes back to the Cleveland Browns Foundation, so that comes back to Cleveland. So thank you so much for all you do and all you continue to do for all of these great organizations.
Thank you.
And thank you for being on with us.
Thank you
for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We're the
Tri-Valley Browns backers, and you're listening to Burning River Sportscast. Go Browns!
Good time talking to Becky and Sons, huh?
Becky and Sons.
Austin and Andy joined us.
I forgot that they were at the President's Summit because those boys were
Well, Austin wasn't there. Austin, he was back at the hotel. He was. We didn't meet him, but Andy, he pieced out of there with the North Jersey guy, and
they went and had a good time.
That was. Well, I actually looked over. I was like, "Hey, where'd they go?" And they're like,
"They're in the flats.
They're not here." So I'm sure they had a good night.
But yeah, no, good conversation with Becky. We appreciate her time and the kids. Definitely jumping on. That was fun.
Yep. So with that, let's take a quick revenue break and then get back here and talk about the Week 3 matchup with the New York Football Giants. Stinker. Towpath Distillery. Towpath Distillery, an award-winning craft distillery located in Akron, Ohio. Towpath Distillery focuses on high-quality spirits carefully made in small batches. Towpath's lineup includes an ultra-smooth, award-winning premium vodka, a small-batch silver rum made from the highest-grade molasses, an American craft gin made with 9 botanicals, and a blended straight bourbon made with corn and rye. Towpath Distillery, now available locally and in 46 states. Visit towpath-distillery.com to place your order online or find an OHLQ retailer near you. Towpath Distillery, handcrafted, award-winning, small batch, local, and family-owned. All right, boys, you know what it's time for?
Ooh, what time?
It's time to talk about our events coming up.
Oh, boy.
Just one big event. It's going to be big. All right, so the Burning River Sportscast is going to help the Dog Pound take over New Orleans. And actually, before we do that, I just want to mention the trip coming up next week for True Fan Travel. It is sold out. It's going to be a hell of a party. They're going to Las Vegas, guys. Taking over Sin City. Joe Hayden, Josh Cribbs, Bridget Linton, all-inclusive
Going on that one?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, all-inclusive tailgate party at Daylight Beach Club, and then the Dog Pound takes over Allegiant Stadium. So, again, going to be awesome. It's sold out. If you didn't get your tickets, you were wrong. You should have.
So wrong.
Too late.
And whoever's going, let us know, please, because we are jealous that we are not heading to Vegas. But, we can't just leave our wives and children every week to go with True Fan Travel. And
I could.
Well, yeah, you're a deadbeat, so... but no, the New Orleans trip is the one we're going on later on this year when they take on the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. This event includes an optional round trip, a private charter flight, a 3-night stay at Renaissance New Orleans, Père Marquette French Quarter, welcome party that's an all-inclusive cruise down the Mississippi River with the Dog Pound, a Q&A with Kevin Mack. I'm sure he's going to be signing some autographs as well. Pep rally the night before, all-inclusive tailgate the day of. Tickets to the game, of course. And the Dog Pound will be taking over the Superdome. In case anyone doesn't know, the Superdome is where the Super Bowl is this week. This week.
Yeah.
It's this week. It's over already.
So soon.
It's where it is this year. So pretty cool to see where the Super Bowl is going to be played. The season is going to be played there. But yeah, and then finally on-site trip coordinators to handle any questions or issues that may arise. So, Kenny, you excited?
I am excited. I'm a little more nervous now than I was.
Because New Orleans all of a sudden is
weeks
beating the
ago.
shit out of everybody?
New Orleans is averaging 40 points a game.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
good.
why are they so good?
That's not good at all.
No.
But I still am
Derek
excited.
Carr is like the number one QB in the NFL right now.
That can't last, can it?
No, well, the thing is like, he threw for something stupid, like 230 yards on like 11 attempts yesterday, like on Sunday. And the game was already
Every single pass he threw was a bomb.
Yeah, and they were already up like 30-10. So like I don't know what's going on there, what's in the water in New Orleans. Maybe we can get some. I'm super excited about just the travel prospects of it, getting to see a Superdome, getting some beignets and some crawdads.
Beignets.
It's gonna be a hell of a time.
Gumbo,
So,
jambalaya.
If you haven't signed up yet,
Just start saying Cajun food.
shrimp scampi,
shrimp.
I'm excited for the tailgate before the game.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a
All-inclusive
blast.
tailgate.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. It sounds good.
All you can drink. All you can drink.
I'm guessing there's food as well.
Yeah, there's food, too.
Can't wait.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Bone's going to drink us under a table. You know that, right?
Just New Orleans with the bros.
Yeah, hell yes. It's going to be lit. Get your tickets. Not that many left, so make sure you get them now and join us in New Orleans. But that'll take us to the Week 3 preview brought to you by True Fan Travel. I'm uncomfortable. All right, so this week for the Browns, we have the New York Giants. Kenny, I'm going to start with you.
Oh boy, is it time for Cliff Notes?
It's time for the Cliff Notes.
Okay.
It's time for Kenny's Cliff Notes.
Time for Kenny's Cliff Notes. Great. Just right on time, my note stopped working. This is the dumbest feature.
Click to a different one and then click back in that one.
It's fine now. I fixed it. I just exited.
Have you tried restarting?
No. Anyways, Cliff Notes. All right, we have the New York Football Giants coming to town. That is complete with ex-Browns offensive coordinator Brian Daboll and his 16-21-1 overall record as head coach. When asked about his job status Sunday, he replied that his focus is on the team.
That's because he knows he's going to get fired.
They do a first.
That's what they say when they know they're going to get fired.
He's not doing a great job. They have a first-year defensive coordinator and special teams coordinator, third-year offensive coordinator at their helm. Look, this team, they aren't great. They're 0-2. Quarterback room, basically, we have Daniel Jones and two guys that look like Daniel Jones. So I like to say Daniel Jones and two lesser versions of Daniel Jones in Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito. Running back room featuring none other than the all-star Devin Singletary. Obviously, wide receiver room, they have a first-round pick in Malik Neighbors from LSU and a really capable slot guy in Wandale Robinson, who have pretty much accounted for like 98% of their offense this season through both games. On defense, they've got a couple players here. That front's led by nose tackle Dexter Lawrence, former first-round pick and Pro Bowler, tipping the scales at an athletic 340. At linebacker, the Oregon product and former 5th overall pick, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Deontay Banks at corner, who was a first-round pick a year ago. So they've got a couple of guys, that have some pedigree there. Leading tackler so far this year is nickel man and 2019 state champion triple jumper with a winning jump of 49 feet 4 inches, Andrew Phillips, and linebacker Micah McFadden.
These are a deep dive. I thought this was Cliff Notes. You're going way back.
It was touted during the draft as a day 3 talent. But that he was densely muscled with the neck the size of a quad. So
that's good, I guess.
That's for you. So teams coming off a loss to the Commanders in a
scariest
game.
environment imaginable. That's all you have to say. Scariest environment.
Coming off a loss against the Commanders in a game they thought they should have won. Jamie Gillen, former Brown and rugby player, the Scottish Hammer. We know he can boom it there, and as far as the special teamers go. But there is a question about their kicker. Was the point of some controversy last week in Graham Gano, as he had a groin injury coming in. Brian Daboll knew this, and for one reason or another did not bring up a secondary kicker from the practice squad, said Gano can just kick through it. Re-aggravated the injury early on, was unable to kick. They ended up going for 2, missing both of them, and lost the game.
That feels bad.
So...
These are the kind of things that get you fired.
yes.
I mean, you don't have the wherewithal to have a kicker on your team?
That's kind of what led to the question about job status on Sunday.
It seems like he's reached the point of, fuck it.
Look, I just never
understood. What are you, silly? I'm still going to send it.
I never understood how a guy, and look, I know he's had a bunch of jobs since then, but this guy was an offensive coordinator in Cleveland under Eric Mangini, and he led the Browns to 32 ranked offense in the league. So, I don't understand how
offensive guru
getting head coaching jobs
offensive guru
in the league. Obviously, they had the one good year in his first year when they surprisingly made the playoffs. I think they were 9-7 that year before they went to the 18-week schedule. And flamed out after that, and I think they were 6-11 last year. So they have some ground to make up if they're going to make good on this season already.
Absolutely. So some matchups that matter here. I know that it's not typically like a head-to-head matchup, but I have Myles Garrett versus Daniel Jones. But the reason I put this in there, and the fact that I even wrote this in my show notes gets me excited. Like I'm quarter chub right now, maybe even 3/4 chub, depending on which angle you're looking at. You know what I'm saying?
Microscope.
Yeah. But Myles Garrett has a sack in each of the first 2 games. I think he continues that streak in this one. Daniel Jones he looks like a deer in headlights half the time out there. I know he has a little bit of mobility and get out of the pocket and run a little bit, but that's if he doesn't look like a deer in headlights. And so far this season, it's not been pretty. So, and just in case we're keeping track, Myles Garrett, if you get a sack a game, every game, that's 17 sacks in the season.
Yeah,
you had a pretty good season.
That's what he's averaging right now.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So,
and you know that he's going to feast on one of these guys on one of these bad teams that we play eventually.
Every year he has a game where he has like 3 or 4 sacks.
3 or 4, yeah. He's going to take control of the game himself, and
I'm hoping for that. But and then my next one is the Browns secondary versus Daniel Jones. There's a theme here. I think Daniel Jones' ass is what I'm trying to say.
It's fair enough.
And so I think that the secondary has room to play really aggressively. The dude's going to make mistakes, and they just need to make him pay for those mistakes. I know we've been very close a couple times already this season as far as picks. Denzel's been close. I think it was Newsom was close. I think Martin Emerson was close in the first game. So one of these has to actually happen, and I think this week is a good week to do it against a quarterback that is just not good.
Yeah, he's not good. You did mention he does have some athletic ability, so this guy can run. But
that's where JOK comes in.
But that's provided he can break contain to begin with. Yeah. So, and I think that this defensive front is going to smother him all afternoon. I think the biggest thing for the Browns in this matchup is they have to limit the the blown play, right?
Yeah.
The Brian Thomas.
It seems like we have one every game.
The Brian Thomas last week that went for whatever 60 yards. That was I don't know if he scored or if he's come down. To like
he didn't score. He got down to like the 1 or 2.
And even the week prior against the Cowboys, there were a number.
The opening drive,
plays.
Just complete blown coverage.
Yeah, I mean,
Juan Thornhill looking for safety help.
Safety looking for the safety help.
Yeah.
So that to me is the biggest key in this one, because I think if you do that and you don't give away points, I think there's no way this offense can keep up with whatever mediocre offense you can muster. But like I said, they do have Malik Neighbors, who he had 10 catches last week, 127 yards. So this dude can play.
Yeah.
But if they can keep him wrapped up all day and contain Daniel Jones running the ball, this is a game the Browns should win.
Yeah. And so as a team, the Giants are 0-2, coming off a bad loss to a bad team in Washington. They're going to try and get their first win, but the Browns are coming in off be it a sloppy win. They're coming in off a win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Sloppy on offense. It actually was a pretty good game on defense for them. I think that's a building block going forward and can get this defense kind of off to the races. Will it keep the momentum going, get another win against an inferior team? We will see. I'd like to hope so. But next up, real quick here, Kenny, you got betting info for us?
Browns are currently a 6.5-point favorite with the over/under set at 38.5.
Nice. So you taking who are you taking there? Over/under. Taking the over.
I'm gonna go over on this actually.
You said it was 36?
38.5.
38.5.
So it just seems low for an NFL game to me. I don't know.
Bone, over, under?
Under.
Oh, defensive battle. I'm going to go over as well. I think the Browns are going to come close by themselves, but
I don't bet.
I'll give you 2-1 odds to get your game on by the end of the day.
You're on. And then next up, players to watch, guys. We have the injury report in here, but is there really anything on the injury report at this point besides David Bell that we already?
The injury report that is important right now is the fact that Graham Cano is probably out for a few weeks due to the hamstring injury. They've got a couple other guys on IR. Linebacker Darius Muasau, corner Nick McLeod. These are all guys on injury reserve, so they're going to be out in a few weeks at least. Linebacker Deontay Johnson, center Austin Schlottman. The only other one that really is of significance here is Gunnar Olszewski, who served as their primary punt and kick returner. Looks like he's got a groin. It's going to keep him out a couple of weeks.
Gotcha. So nothing crazy, nothing really surprising there. Besides, they don't have a kicker. Hopefully, they sign one this week. I mean, I hope they don't. But I missed something here. You talked about betting info. What's the over/under that Brian Daboll gets fired after he loses?
I think it's early in the season for coach firings, but we'll see.
Come on. 0-3. Your team's ass. Daniel Jones sucks.
I mean, he does suck, and they are ass. Real quick, too, on the Brown side of things, Pierre Strong is listed as questionable. He does have a hamstring injury, according to Coach Stefanski today. And David Njoku has not yet been ruled out to play in Week 3 versus the Giants.
It's a high ankle sprain. Don't tempt it. Just let it heal.
I'm just saying that's what the injury report.
I mean, I understand. I'm talking to him. Don't tempt it.
And then as of today, Jed and Jack Conklin still both listed as out.
Great. I think that'll change. That probably hasn't been updated yet.
Well, it's early in the week.
Yeah. So, but next up here, players to watch. I'm going to go ahead and start this week. My player to watch this week is Denzel Ward. You kind of mentioned it. Their only weapon on offense is Malik Neighbors. Denzel Ward will most likely be locked up with them for a good portion of the afternoon. I think as long as he shuts him down, and Martin Emerson, obviously, Newsome as well, are both going to hold their own against him when there's different switches or whatever the case may be. But I think it's going to be Denzel Ward's top responsibility for this game. And as long as he can keep him contained, which shouldn't be that difficult with Daniel Jones throwing you the ball, they're going to have a long day on offense. New York is. So, Kenny, who you got?
My player to watch is Amari Cooper. After a disappointing first 2 weeks, this is your number one receiver in Cleveland. He's got to get it together. A game like this against an inferior opponent, a team that you should beat handily, this is a good week for him as a get-right game. I think that we've seen some good things out of some of the ancillary guys, out of Elijah Moore, out of Jerry Jeudy to this point. But look, this is the guy that's a leader on the team. He's supposed to be your number one. We've seen him act and play and produce like a number one the last couple of seasons. He's got to get it right, and especially if this is a playoff team. If this team is going to make any noise at all, contend for the division, you have to have a number one receiver.
Yeah.
So I'm banking on maybe this being Amari's breakout this week.
Nice. Bone?
I'm going to add that Amari Cooper was mine as well. He's just been like a pro's pro since he's been here in every single way. So it's so unlike him these first couple weeks. So just getting him back into it and making catches and being that number one for us, I think is going to be huge for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. And with that, it's going to take us to Gassed Up. All right, so obviously it's that time again, boys. This is where we talk about anything that's getting us gassed up, whether it's gassed up good or gassed up bad. We're going to talk about it. So I'm going to start with
you.
Me? I'm going to start with me.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with me. You know what's getting me gassed up this week?
No. What's that?
Mosquitoes.
Oh, they're the worst.
I just hate mosquitoes. Fuck those things. No, seriously, like, what is the point of a mosquito?
Food for other animals.
Yeah, I mean, I get that part.
Spread
but like,
disease.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, not only are you annoying and you make me itch, but then you're just going to give me a disease?
Population control.
That's what it is. It's government.
No, nature.
I think it's the government.
So
it's like birds aren't real.
It's a circle of life.
I just hate mosquitoes, man. They're so annoying, and I'm fair skinned, so they go after me all the time. Like I just
you got that good
hemoglobin. Yeah. As soon as we go outside, if it's like us three, they're definitely eating me. So like it's not fun.
I would love to see you get eaten.
With that, you've stopped me in my tracks. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Bone. What's getting you gassed up this week?
Oh, man. All right. Well, what got me gassed up today was a story I heard, a kind of experienced in my neighborhood. Real quick, I get a message from my wife that a baby horse was hit on the road, I guess, by my allotment in my neighborhood, which is really weird because there's no farms around. And it like went on, social media. Somebody like made a post like, "Hey, has anybody lost a horse? It's like lying here on the side of the road, like it looks like it got hit by a car." It's kind of dark,
just average everyday normal post.
But it was just really strange story, to kind of start the day. So I immediately texted the wife and I said, "I'm gonna need you to pick me up after work today, except I took my truck to the shop." She said, "Okay, what's the address?" And I was like, "Or what happened?" And I was like, "Well, I had some front end damage." I gave her the address to where I work, and she still wasn't tracking. So I just kept this joke. I took this joke going on, kind of dark, for a few hours, like until lunchtime when I called her.
Bone.
And I broke the news to her that I did not indeed hit this horse. But
did she? By the time you broke the news to her, had she caught on a little bit? Like, oh God, I think Bone hit the.
She already set up like to have her mom take her to work the next day because she figured I would be needing her vehicle. So,
well, it's good to know that if you ever commit a crime, your wife is 100% on board to cover it up for you. Like, absolutely. Let me clear my schedule.
Disclaimer, I don't know what happened to the horse. It was cleaned up. As far as I know, it was alive.
We still don't know what happened to the horse.
Bone's officially my prime suspect.
It was super random because this is like not like a farming area or anything.
Bone, that's
just like a horse on the side of the road.
That's extremely smart. Listen, I'm going to go on the podcast tonight and talk about how it wasn't me. So then...
This is alibi.
Yeah.
His alibi is the podcast.
Yeah, I even sent her like a Chris Farley like gif or meme or whatever in the text message where he's like driving and he like all of a sudden he's like cracking up as he's driving. He's like, oh, like he hit something. Like I thought that would have gave it away, but it didn't.
Nope.
Yeah, it was good. It was funny.
Your wife's good people.
Yeah, she is.
Bone killed the horse.
Kenny, what's getting you gassed up? Wait, so just so I'm clear. Ponies getting hit by cars is what's getting.
It was just a bizarre story, so I had to share.
The unsolved mystery
of the pony getting hit by the car. Okay.
Yeah, call into the Hot Take Hotline if you have any further information.
330-227-8080.
We're taking anonymous text.
Kenny, what is getting you gassed up this week?
Oh man, I was just thinking about this. Farts.
Always funny.
Farts?
Like they're funny, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, but how long have farts been funny?
Forever.
For 35 years.
Like, are farts funny because like modern media?
We've officially gone there. We got toilet humor on our on our show. But go on.
Are farts funny because like modern media, like we grew up with like slapstick comedy and like fart jokes, like Harry and Dumb and Dumber pooping on the toilet, just blowing it out the box, like that's like
shit everywhere.
Like go back 100 years, like go back to like 1900. Was farts funny then?
Had to be.
Right. It had to have been.
What about like the medieval times, like the 1500s?
Had to be.
Like if King Henry farted, was he like
just imagine.
And then like blame it on the page. Like, Arturo, come on.
He executed his like ninth wife for it.
Just imagine like A Knight's Tale and you are here to be arrested.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Though. Like, are farts funnier today to us because we laugh at them, or like have they always been kind of funny? Like,
if they weren't always funny, then them old people was wrong.
Like I know, like Ben Franklin penned an essay about farting proudly, and because he was like fed up with the pretentiousness of like the British elite because they were trying to make things you could swallow to make your farts not.
Talk about our show closing. That's what you should have just read it as the closing of the show today.
They wanted to make their farts not smell, so they were trying to come up with like food perfume. And he was like, "You should just fart proudly." Like he was penned like this like satirical essay back to the British Academy of Science. It was like just let it out. But like so okay, you go back like 300 years, but like let's really think about this. Like first off, like was there just like a caveman?
Yes,
like yes, cave.
That's what I was just picturing. Like he's just sitting there with his buddy
and they've just housed a wildebeest. and this barely bipedal man that just started walking yesterday is like just blowing it out in the cave, and then it's like like before laughing was even a thing. Like were there cavemen laughing at their own farts?
There had to be.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
There had to be.
And then also my mind went to like, was this like a joke? This is like a God joke. It's like I'm gonna give him really tiny balls.
That this air's got to
serves other purpose too. It's got to hold everything in.
That's true. It would just fall out if it didn't.
But like, God was a pretty intelligent creator. He could have just made our farts not sound like that.
He's got to give life some comic relief, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it speaks to intelligent design.
Like he knew. So does God think farts are funny? That's ultimately the question.
I think so.
I think he does.
All right.
I think he does. You want to know what my favorite like skit or like joke about farts in any like movie or TV show is? It's Family Guy. When Peter's like, I didn't have gas for the first time till I was like 36 years old, and it flashes back to him in like the 70s, and he's sitting there on a beanbag chair, and he's just alone in his apartment. He's just like, Meh. And he's like, what the hell was that? I mean, you have to watch it. It's the funniest thing. It sticks out every time we talk about farts. So,
also just like I'm just trying to think of like us versus cavemen. Like they had to have probably thought it was just the sound alone is funny, and then the stink is funny.
Yeah,
but like I don't know. Like, are we just so much more desensitized to it because of like South Park and Terrence and Phillip and just like all the just today's media that. Bro,
if you don't think farts are funny, then get the fuck out of here. That's the bottom line.
That's what I was gassed up about.
Yeah, you were literally gassed up. And so with that, let's get into the King of the North. All right, so in case anyone doesn't know by now, this is our year-long AFC North Pick'em competition. At the end of the season, whoever comes in last place gets punished. In the preseason last year, Kenny had a gross of eggs thrown at him by fans in the Muni lot before a preseason game. In the preseason this year, Kenny had his head and beard shaved clean off. It's a lot of hair donated.
Thank you.
Punishment this season will be Listen to this, guys. We got it.
We figured it out.
We figured it out. Whoever loses this year is going to have to go into a public pool, get in, and then publicly announce that they have urinated in that pool. And so this begs the question, Kenny, are you excited to do this year?
I'm definitely not going to lose this year.
You're losing right now.
I'm tied for second right now, so I'm not losing.
You're technically in last place, though.
I'm not technically in last place.
You're both in last place. I'm in first place. You guys suck. But first things first, before we get into this, I want to remind everyone that Bone is the reigning, defending king of the North. And Kenny, as always, is a clown. So let's remind everyone our current records after week one. I'm sorry, after week two.
Who's the clown now?
You. I am in first place at 3-5, and Bone and Kenny are bringing up the rear at 2-6. Such a funny turn of phrase. Like what? But anyways, let's get into this week's games. Starting off with Cincinnati. Cincinnati hosts Washington. I'll go ahead and start things off. I hate to say it, but Cincinnati's finally going to win a game. Washington is ass, dog. Like they're so bad.
Washington's ass dog. Like dog ass?
Ass dog. Ass dog. Alone in the world, a little ass dog.
Yeah, I mean, Washington's bad. So the fact that the only team they can beat is the New York Giants tells you all you need to know about Washington. So I got Cincy winning. Finally getting on the board. Bone, who you got?
Cincinnati. I think they're going to win.
Yeah, okay.
All the reasons that you said.
Yeah, thanks. Kenny? Is this where it goes off the rails? Like you start making crazy picks? Like, come on, pick Washington.
He's making moves.
Come on.
Moves.
You're never going to catch up if you don't pick Washington.
No, I've got Cincinnati.
Damn it.
Look, and I think that while I still have doubts about Cincinnati in terms of like, are they a playoff team? Are they truly going to compete for the division? I do think that they have some momentum coming into this week after what was a close game against the Chiefs. So I think that they're at least feeling like they can probably win this game at this point.
All right. I wish you would have picked Washington. I really do. And I saw it in your face. You wanted to.
No, it was my note broke again, and I was trying to reset it because I didn't have my notes.
All right, so next up, the Steelers host the Chargers. Bone, who you got?
Oh, man. Chargers are playing pretty good right now.
2-0.
J.K. Dobbins is a stud.
I know. He in Baltimore, he couldn't get off the couch because his toe was always broken, and now he's doing front flips into the end zone out there in San Diego. So,
oh yeah,
I'm gonna say their momentum stops. I think the Steelers are gonna beat them.
Oh,
Steelers defense is good.
It is good, but they also have not played anybody yet.
Good point.
But I like it. Going with the Steelers at home. Mike Tomlin team.
Home game. Yeah, I'm going with the Steelers.
Good call. Kenny?
Yeah, I think the Steelers are fraudulent. I think they've played bad teams so far. The Chargers, at least to this point, are a good team. More importantly, they can run the ball, and they have a good quarterback. So I'm going Chargers in this one.
And for all the same reasons that you just said, I'm going Chargers as well. The main point that I want to continue to drive home is I think the Steelers are fraudulent.
Yes.
I don't think they're a good team. I think Mike Tomlin will figure out a way to get them to 500.
Sure.
But I don't think they're a good team. I think a lot of these wins are going to come in close games against bad teams because that's what he's going to win those games. He's just a really good coach. So, yeah, I like the Chargers to win this one. And then the Ravens travel to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Kenny, who you got?
Oh, boy. Look, I think Dallas is not as good as we thought they were after week one. But I have not been impressed by this Ravens team yet. I think it takes a superhuman performance from Lamar Jackson for them to beat basically anybody. They're in Dallas. Dallas is really coming off of a really ugly loss in week 2. I think that they're going to probably have all their I's dotted and T's crossed for this one. I'm going to go Dallas.
Nice. Bone, who you got?
I'm going to pick Dallas as well. I know they just got shit on by New Orleans, but their defense destroyed us for some reason, one way or another, and they did. And if they, like Kenny said, can handle Lamar, I feel like their receivers suck. So I'm going to go with Dallas at home.
That's fair. I'm actually going to go with Baltimore in this game. As much as I have not been impressed with Baltimore either, and as much as I hated watching Dallas shit all over us, as Bone so eloquently put it, I just think I look at last week's game, and one thing that the Browns were lacking against Dallas was a rushing game. Like we didn't have anybody that ran for over like 30 yards or whatever it was. Last week they played a solid running back in Alvin Kamara, and he just destroyed them. He lit them up. And I think as much as I don't think they've fully figured out how to use King Henry yet, I think that him and Lamar Jackson go in there and it's going to be a run-heavy day, and I think that they come out on top. But I actually don't think it's going to be particularly close. It's not going to be a blowout, but I think they win by like 10 points. So I got Baltimore in this one. And then finally, the Browns will be back at Huntington Bank Field to take on the Giants. So the reason we're all here, I'll go ahead and start this thing. I got Cleveland in this. I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I think it's the final score is somewhere around 21-10 Cleveland, but I think one of those touchdowns actually comes in garbage time for the Giants. So
You realize you said over on 38.5, right?
yeah, I know.
And you know we're close.
Yeah, I know. I picked my score before you told me what the over/under was, and then I inflated the Browns, and but I'm going 21-10 Browns. Here, I'll actually up it. You know what? What is it? 38? 38's the number. 29-10 Cleveland.
Oh yeah, right in sync with the over/under.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
Who's next?
Bone.
I'll go. Browns. Browns are going to win.
He's back. He's back to picking the Browns.
Yeah, I'm back. They looked a little better last week. The offense
looked a little better, so I'm fully confident.
Showed something. Deshaun threw the ball over 20 yards on a couple plays, so that was nice to see. I will go Browns 24, Giants 12.
Nice. Kenny, who you got in this one? Are you going against the Browns? I feel like it's coming.
I can see Daniel Jones getting loose on like one big run here, and probably Malik Neighbors having another big day. That being said, I do think Cleveland can close this one out. I do think it's going to be relatively close. I'm going to go 24-20 Browns.
Just squeaking by. So there you have it. We'll see. It's still close. So we'll see who's on top in King of the North after next week. But that'll take us to basically the end of the show. But before we get there, let me remind you to call the Burning River Sportscast Hot Take Hotline. Don't forget to call and leave your hot takes on the hot take hotline. We are begging you. Leave your takes.
Please call.
What you want?
On the hot take hotline.
Please call and leave your hot takes
on the hot take hotline. 330-227-8080.
330-227-8080.
330-227-8080.
330-227-8080. Call now operators are not standing by, but we'll put you on the air. And be sure to check out our gear at www.thetapinmedia.com/shop. That'll do it for us. Kenny, what can we expect next week?
You can expect us to be live on Sunday night. Join us live, BRS live Sunday evening after the game. You never know what's going to happen when we're live. You never know what we're going to say. You never know what trouble we might get into. So join us. We're going to shoot for, 8 p.m. Sunday
8 p.m., that's the goal.
And we will recap the Browns Week 3. Hopefully win against the Giants. Raw reactions, so raw, just raw dog and I reactions all over each other. And then next Thursday, we'll be back to preview Week 4 against the Raiders. But we know the Dog Pound is taking over Las Vegas, so we'll be real excited about that one. And
wouldn't you know it?
An interview with the Vegas Dog Pound.
And so check us out on social media. Tapin Media is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Tapin Media. And Burning River Sportscast, that's this podcast, is on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Burning River Sportscast, and on X at Burning River Pod. You can find our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're talking Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Castro, Good Pods, and so many more. Do you know that takes to Kenny?
Also, I believe we're trying to rope back our defensive correspondent for next week as well.
Oh, John Hughes will be back with us next week. If you know what that takes us to, Kenny.
Facts for days.
We went off the rails there. Kenny, what do you got for us today?
I have some facts for days.
Let's hear them. Look at your picture. It's when you had hair.
Thank you. I don't have any now.
No. It's coming in nicely though. You're I thought it looked gray when it was long because it was gray. But it is, you look like you're 90.
Look, it's fine if you have a D in your mouth. It's fine if you don't. Number one, just you.
Oh, just me.
Number one, you may have heard that humans and chimps share 99% of our ancestral DNA.
Okay.
However, did you know
I heard that once.
that we as humans share 50% of our DNA with bananas?
Hell yes. Because we're both living.
We're basically half banana. By sequencing the entire genome of various organisms, researchers have discovered similarities in their base material. Human beings have been found to share many of the housekeeping genes that are necessary for cellular function in bananas.
Does this point to like crawling out of the primordial oob?
Yes.
Ooze?
Oob.
Ooze?
This is a boob in the oob. In the tube. Yes. This is bananas started crawling out of the primordial ooze, and then sooner or later a bipedal human popped out and had sex with your mom. And here you are.
That's what happened. The future. Bone, what do you have to say about this? Not my mom. About
what do you have to say
everything.
about the oob?
About us crawling out of the-
Well, if we came from a banana, man, then I don't know what. That takes some belief there. That takes some belief.
Only use rotten bananas in banana bread.
True. What's next?
Number two, celery.
Ooh. Do we share 50% of our DNA with celery?
Maybe.
75.
I didn't research that one.
Yeah. Oh.
Celery, though, has negative calories.
Oh, yeah, because there's no calories, then you chew it. So then when you chew it, it's negative calories.
Yes.
You're welcome. Facts for days number 2 from Red Hot Ronnie Jams.
It takes more calories to eat a single piece of celery than the total amount of calories one piece contains. Consider adding these tasty veggies.
They're all water.
Diet snack.
It's basically just water.
Yes, in celery form.
Yeah.
Instead of
Celery's delicious, though. I'm with Bone on that. With buffalo chicken
yes,
dip, let's
that's what
throw
I
it
was
back.
gonna say.
Yeah.
I wanted to
That
say it
will
again.
not have negative calories.
Oh, you up the calorie count significantly when you add buffalo chicken dip to your celery stick.
It tastes way better with buffalo chicken on it.
Will also ruin your colon.
Oh, yeah, a little bit.
Number 3,
Burning River.
burning oob.
What's number 3?
Number 3,
Yeah.
the man
The myth, the legend.
with the longest beard in the world was murdered by his beard.
What?
In 1567, the man that held this title was trying to run from a fire. Due to his beard's length, tripped over it, which caused him to fall down the stairs and break his neck.
And then he died.
Wow.
The man's name was Hans Steininger. He was the mayor of a picturesque little town called Braunau.
Braunau.
Austria-Hungary at the time.
Yeah.
Life was great. Things were going great for him. He won his 6th governorship, which essentially makes him the mayor of the town.
Nice.
So very popular there and amongst the residents, adored by the town. They loved him so much they just kept voting him in. So anyway, he has this 4.5-foot beard, and he would typically roll it up and tuck it neatly into his pocket while he greeted constituents.
As you would.
And enjoyed the comfortable little life that he built for himself. But regretfully, that life was cut short, unlike his beard. On September 28th, 1567, a fire broke out in the town, and as the hero that he was, leapt to his feet to see how he could help. And then sadly tripped over his beard, fell down the stairs, broke his neck, and died. Everyone's favorite mayor snapped his neck on the way down, and he became the first victim of a murderous beard. Over 450 years later, after his death, his beard, though, does survive. It's currently on display at the District Museum of Herzogsburg in Braunau, and it has been authenticated and chemically preserved so that future generations can continue to appreciate this sensational local story. Double fact today. The town of Braunau, MN, is most often remembered as the birthplace of one Adolf Hitler. But for understandable reasons, the local
I like the beard story better.
the local tourism board seems to be more keen to celebrate the mayor, who was killed by his own beard.
Yeah, that's not as bad.
The anniversary of his death is coming up, September 28th.
Yes. We should have a seance or something. Maybe we'll all trim our beard hairs in remembrance
in
of Hans
remembrance.
Steininger, the man
Bones
longest.
is looking pretty good right now.
I'm growing mine for Hans.
It's not quite 4.5 feet. But
No. His is just so thick and luscious.
his was not quite as thick and luscious. In fact,
It was like mine. It was like wispy.
It was more like, it was very wispy and long, and it came down into like 2 points. You know, like the old Gandalf beard type deal. Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there. You think this conspiracy theory? You think this was a targeted attack? They started the fire hoping he'd die. He was in office for quite some time. I think someone was jealous.
Maybe Hitler came back and started the fire.
We didn't.
And that, friends, is Facts for Dates.
Wow. Killer beards.
Killer beards.
Killer beards.
Killer boots, man. No, it's a cardigan, but thanks for noticing.
Oh, man.
Well, I'm hungry, so bon appetit.
Don't just be a part of the problem, be the whole damn problem.
And only you can prevent river fires.
Burning River Sportscast. Burning River. Burning Rivers. Burning Rivers. Wake me up before you go. Leave me hanging out like a yo-yo. Wake me up before you go. I don't want to miss you when you hit that high. Wake me up before you go. I'm not planning on going solo. Wake me up before you go. Take me dancing tonight. I want to hit that high. Yeah. Jitterbug.
Good night, Cleveland.
Good night, Cleveland.
Good night, Akron.
Good night, Cleveland.
Question mark? Quiet on set.
I now have two loves in my life. Big city living and a voodoo woman named Phyllis.
So put your right foot in and take your right foot out. Then put your right foot in and shut the hell up because it's not time for the hokey pokey. It's time for the Burning River Sportscast.
Motorboat? You play the motorboat? You motorboat son of a bitch. You old sailor, you.
You know what I was thinking during that interview?
What? What were you thinking? Nothing because you don't have thoughts because you're a brainless idiot?
Wow.
My name is Uhtred, son of Uhtred.
By the way, I want my foreskin back.
Women's Guide to Anal Sex, and it was the second edition. Who makes the second edition?
The weather outside is weather.
The other one, the finger eating food fingers.
Oh my God! My house is full of shit! He's shit everywhere!
Yes.
Ejaculate all over my body and my genitals.
Yes.
Oh no! We suck again!
You don't need fundamentals when you got heart.
and Jesus.
And Jesus.
That's right.
Touchdown. Anyways.
What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
It's going down. I'm
yelling timber.
Goddamn jets.
Are we gonna?
You're only in this city.
Should we start a meat podcast of like
the meat pod?
Slow roasted.
The leads are weak. The leads are weak. Fucking leads are weak. You're weak.
That we should send a team of oil core drillers a la Armageddon to Mars to have them access the newly discovered reservoirs of water trapped 7 to 12 miles under the surface that, when released, will cover the entirety of everything on the planet, less than a mile high.
All I do is win no matter what.
Erroneous on both counts. Oh Lord.
I mean, last year when I won and went home, my wife's pants hit the ground.
Wow.
But damn!
Well, I'm sorry, I hijacked your segment for a second to do some good podcasting.
You know why, mister? Because you drove a Hyundai to get here tonight. I drove an $80,000 BMW. That's my name.
I think we've officially lost all of our more conservative viewers. So I don't think they want to listen any longer.
This is it's Mother Nature.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Where's Logo Girl when you need her?
I desperately want to make love to
This cheese
We
girl.
need Cheese Girl now.
Down goes Anderson! Down goes Anderson!
Who's canceled now? Who's canceled now?
Probably me.
You making fun of fat people?
I'm not. Just you.
We're a whole race, basically.
way. You just finger bang their salad.
You first get shocked, and then you get the shocker.
Hey, you like to see homos naked? That's cool, man. Whatever. No.
Most people, like, they're driving along and they're like in between meals. They're like, I'm a little hungry. I'm gonna have a granola bar. And he's like, I need a cheeseburger.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Browns fans, come party with Cleveland Browns legends Josh Cribbs, Kevin Mack, and Joe Hayden. True Fan Travel, an official fan experience partner of the Cleveland Browns, is hosting premium trip packages for Browns fans to Las Vegas, New Orleans, Denver, and DC. Everything is taken care of. Flights, hotels, tailgate, game tickets, transportation, food, drinks, everything that's important to Browns fans. Visit TrueFanTravel.com today and reserve your ultimate Browns travel package. That's TrueFanTravel.com.
Today's episode was brought to you by Towpath Rum. Towpath Rum, silver rum made from the highest grade molasses. Distilled 3 times in a copper pot still, this rum is designed to be the backbone of a great cocktail. So good you can drink it by itself. Available locally in Northeast Ohio and online in 46 states. Towpath Rum.